Easter. We're here. We've waited. We've counted days. We've gone about this time together of remembering the story of Jesus. We've walked through the last days. We've been through the roller coaster of emotion together, of an entrance into Jerusalem, of a last meal, and of Jesus' death. And now we're here. We're finally here in this day of celebration, in this day of new life, in this day where we remember that death cannot be conquered by life and love. We are here. Isn't it interesting to finally be here? One of the things I've loved about living in Lincoln, Nebraska is that at my house, we have a front porch. And I love sitting in that front porch. I love sitting there, and it's really noisy because I live on A Street, and I love sitting there and watching my neighbors walking up and down the sidewalk. I love to watch the sun as it kind of comes down in the evenings, and sometimes on beautiful mornings, I love to sit there in the morning, the warmth of the sun. But you know what I cannot do during the winter? Is sit on my porch. So winter, like it is for so many of us, can be quite a long set of days. We're all kind of cooped inside the houses, and we all kind of feel a little kind of weird about this time of the year. It's so dry, and it's so sparse looking everywhere, right? You don't have leaves on the trees, and everything is so kind of bright with the snow when it falls, kind of dreary at times. Winter is quite an interesting time. And there comes a point during winter time that it might feel for so many of us, myself included, like it's never going to end. We might feel like we'll be in a perpetual state of winter. It might make us a bit hopeless. That sense, that feeling, that's the sense and feeling that the disciples had when they walked away after they had buried Jesus. They remembered that Jesus had mentioned something of resurrection, but they really didn't know for sure whether that was going to be the case. So they were in this place of wondering, hoping maybe. Some of them had gone on to day-to-day life. They'd gone back to their vocations as fishermen. It was quite an interesting time for them. Maybe that's an interesting time for you too. When we're in that in-between time, when we are not sure what's happening around us, maybe a difficult time in your life, maybe a difficult season in your life where things are not coming together like you expected. That seems like that long winter that never is going to end. And in those moments, when we're right there in those moments, we can feel quite hopeless. We might remember that there were promises of new life. We might remember that there were better days. We might remember that we know that these things won't last forever. But at that moment, like those disciples long ago, it might feel just like this will be it. This is the way things are going to be from now on. In the emptiness and in the sparseness and in the cold and in the isolation. And it might just feel like that. But today we remember that no matter how cold it's been and how sparse it's been and how lonely it's felt, and no matter how darkness has seemed to have been overwhelming at times and not enough sunshine has happened, it doesn't matter how long winter has been, spring does indeed come. It shines through. It always appears, and it always comes at the perfect time. See, resurrection is Easter springing forth. Resurrection is spring blooming. Resurrection is the sun shining. Resurrection is that sense of new life after a very difficult season. Resurrection is that deep peace within our hearts when we felt angst and diseased. That's Easter. That's resurrection. The question for us today is, how do we find that resurrection beyond this very moment where we are ready and expectant and excited, when we're tuning in today Maybe you couldn't make it to in-person worship, although I hope many of you do anyways. But you're here worshiping in this moment. You're celebrating resurrection in this moment. So the question becomes, how do we then take this moment and make sure that we extend it beyond this? In other words, how do we make sure that resurrection is something more than just a celebration that happens once a year at the church, where we put our Sunday's best and we attend church and remember, sometimes with much fondness and nostalgia? What is that like? And those disciples found out what this was like. And it began with a simple statement from Jesus, from the resurrected Jesus to Mary, which is, go tell my brothers that I'm resurrected, and I'll meet them there. I'll meet them there. I'll meet them at the house there. I'll meet them where they are. Did you hear that? Jesus meets them where they are gathered. So my prayer for us together in this Easter season, and by the way, Easter is a season, it's not just today, is that you might begin to experience the resurrection, this new life, this renewed life, this springing forth, this blossoming, this new beginning where you are, in the midst of the most domestic kind of way. So you may begin to experience this new life and this resurrection and this sense of living again right in this moment as you participate in this worship time together. But also in your home, where you are. Maybe in the cooking dinner and the planting of a garden, that you'll experience in your life right then and there. And in that experience, there is the resurrected Lord. That you experience new life maybe in your workplace, in your relationships around you, around that workplace, that any time that you experience an encounter that seems new and life-giving and joyful and love-filled, that, oh, there is the resurrected Christ right there in your midst. That you experience new life as you're going about in the marketplaces of our lives, at the grocery store, at the gas station. Maybe something strikes your attention. Maybe it's you see something you've never seen before. Maybe a bit of nature catches your attention, or maybe an encounter with the cashier catches your attention. That if there's joy and peace and love and connection, there is the resurrected Christ right there meeting you where you are in the everyday of life, that you experience resurrection in the most mundane and domestic ways. Maybe when you lay in bed at night and you're wondering about your day, can you sense the moments where joy crept up, where possibility emerged, where hope seemed to be coming forth? Little moments. Can you think of them where it seemed like we were striving forward towards joy? Those little moments when you sense a bit of peace in the midst of the everyday life. Oh, there it is. The resurrected Christ meeting you right where you are, emerging in the everyday of life. That's right in those moments. It is easy to get caught up in the stuff of life. It is easy to have moments where we feel like spring will never come. But now, because of resurrection, because Jesus Christ could not be bound by death, we can experience the reality of healing and wholeness and of salvation, freedom, liberation in the most mundane ways. In each one of those moments, Easter bubbling up, Jesus meeting us where we are. And that could be the biggest gift that Easter can give us today and in the days to come for us and for our neighbors and family and friends. That's right, for the entire world. So people of God, pay attention. Easter is here, emerging everywhere. Take a look. Amen.